All right, you squares. There's a article that's been going around, and as per usual, it's about colorism. And in my opinion, colorism is a black woman's problem. For black women, colorism is probably worse than racism. And when they talk about colorism, it's never about what goes on between other women or their jobs or their social standing. Colorism always goes back to dating. Colorism always goes back to a black man's preference. It has nothing to do with a black dude marrying a black woman, or any of that ilk. Is what is the standard of beauty in black America, or what is the standard of beauty in America, period. But we're going to get into this article. Why dark-skinned black girls like me aren't getting married. And it says black women in the U.S. marry less than others, and the numbers are even lower for darker-skinned black women. Is colorism favoring light skin to blame? And this is from Dream McClinton. And this is, I don't know why the Guardian is doing this, because it's a UK paper, about the Shades of Black series. For whatever reason, black UK women are fascinated with American black women and their plight and their concerns. I take a deep breath and ready my fingers. I admonish myself for being theatrical about something so mundane. Another deep breath. Here we go. My profile has been created. It seems simple enough. Swipe left to dismiss, swipe right to express interest. The first eligible bachelor appears. Not my type, I swipe left. Then another follows. Too young, I swipe left again. 10 swipes in, I find myself texting my elder sister. This was a bad idea. A feeling of vexation settles over me. Didn't think I would ever have to use a dating app, but men don't talk to me any other way. Now, women complain about guys being thirsty. And women complain about street harassment. But now you get women saying that guys don't talk to me. They're supposed to be the most desired women on the planet. But guys don't talk to her. Now I'm going to show you pictures of her later on. She's not ugly. She's probably about, she's about a 6, which is not bad. And here, we start reading the highlight portion. I spent so much time trying to understand what is so unattractive about me that men shun me. For a while, I concluded I was not interesting. A line subsequently I used in my biography on social media. Now this is, we just read where she swiped left on the first 10 guys. On Tinder, she rejected the first 10 guys. But men shun her because she feels she's unattractive. And she feels that she's not interesting. But the real issue is staring me right in my face, my deep mahogany skin. Colorism, the prejudice based on skin tone, has shunted the romantic lives of millions of dark-skinned black women. Shunted. We are not as valued as our light-skinned counterparts when seeking romantic partners. Our dating pool is constricted because of something as arbitrary as shoe size, or for men, height, weight, color, hair texture, eye color, education. It's called what? Choice. Now she goes through this whole spiel about racial inequality and American colorism born out of slavery and slave masters raped enslaved women, blah, 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 blah. Their lighter skinned illegitimate offspring were given preferential treatment over darker skinned counterparts. And so this order has been perpetuated by systematic racism and internalized by black people. It remains alive even now, insidiously snaking into my life. But they never talk about it applying to black women, just black men. See, meanwhile, everywhere we look, women like me seek successful, look at this, successful black men coupled with fair-skinned female partners who pass the paper bag test. A remnant of the Reconstruction era where the only black people worthy of attention had to be lighter than a paper bag. This test was even instituted in places such as historically black colleges and universities as an informal part of the admission process, which is not really true. But you notice what she says. Everywhere we look, women like me see successful black men coupled with fair-skinned female partners. That's the issue. It's not about an everyday guy. It's about successful guys, or guys that they deem desirable. In other words, the guys that I want don't want me, or supposedly don't want me, because I don't fit their mold. Black women in general marry less than other races, but darker skinned women marry men. See? Black women in general tend to marry less than other races, but darker skinned women marry men of lower social status than the lighter skinned black women. That's the issue. Like I was saying, it's not every guy. They resent being considered lower status by their looks. So a chick that's a 3 or 4, should get a higher status male on her looks. People discriminate by looks in dating and mating. Women discriminate by looks in dating and mating. For something as benign as swag. Jasmine Turner, owner of Black Matchmade, a Chicago-based matchmaking company, agrees this affects all black women. Honestly, I think black women tend to lower their standards because they're finding challenges in dating. Duh. Now I'm finding that black women are like, you know what, as long as he has a good job and he's a good person, no matter how successful they are, they're open to dating him. It's called supply and demand. If they're not out there, you can't get them. If they don't choose you, you can't get them. Like Ruth says, if you're not having success, work on your looks and femininity and lower your standards. I've never been one to settle. Here we go. You know what? This is irritating me. Because they deem of somebody of a lower socioeconomic status as beneath them, they feel they have to settle. And they're mad at the store because that's all they sell. So whatever's in the store, they go in like Edward says, they go in the store, they can't find what they want, and they get mad and complain, I shouldn't have to settle for what's on the shelf. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. In fact, I'm going to go through this article. I feel a rant coming on. I've never been one to settle. I've taken this attitude to the app. Only searching for men who are gainfully employed and fairly decent looking. What does that mean by being gainfully employed and fairly decent looking? She's discriminating. But I definitely understand what she means. Previously, dating has made me feel like I must drop some of my must-have criteria. A college education, get this, look at this. A college education, a steady job, and being able and willing to pay for the first date in order to find a match. My mother has even scolded me for telling me to raise my standards. I've been on a lot of dates and no girl should have to pay for the first date. But my feelings of a necessary drop in standards have been validated by research from Dr. Derek Hamilton, a professor of economics and sociology at Ohio State University. Hamilton aggregated information from the 2003 multi-study of urban inequality to identify why so many dark-skinned women who date men remain bachelorettes. His assessment was designed to show how the imbalance of eligible black males, whatever that means, taking into account high incarceration rates and limited labor market, affects the marriage market. No shit. Look at this. His research shows that the scarcity of available high-status husbands defined as high levels of education, not growing up on public assistance, coming from neighborhoods that had less crime. In other words, suburban, educated lames, suburban, educated men, effectively leave black men in control of the dating selection process. His data concluded 55% of light-skinned women were married, while only 23% of dark-skinned women had jumped the broom. Black men have unnatural power within marriage markets that enables them to bid up cursory characteristics like skin shade. Hamilton told me over the phone, in other words, the lighter the female, the higher probability of marriage. One of the results that we find that darker complexioned black women who have higher status face a greater penalty in marriage markets than those with a lower socioeconomic status. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I get it. In other words, basically, what they're not saying is that darker skinned women who have high status face a greater penalty in marriage markets than those with a lower socioeconomic. In other words, basically, when you get up into that rarefied air, which is the high status male, which is the top 10% of all black males, which all these women are shooting for, those men discriminate, and those men want the poster child female, the lighter skin, the fairer hair, slimmer bodies, because they can. And the reason that this colorism shit keeps going round and round is those darker skinned women don't think they have a fair shot at those guys. Like it's supposed to be a level playing field. According to his research, I am the epitome of high status option. College educated, familial middle class background, age 16 to 30, able-bodied, but according to his equation, I haven't the social capital, read skin tone to seek a quality match. Bingo. What is a quality match? Somebody in her socioeconomic status, her class. Okay, let me do that again. Before even entertaining thoughts of marriage, I have to get past the dating stage. Turner says she often sees black men pass up perfectly eligible dark-skinned women. Black men will say complexion doesn't matter, but they might give that lighter complexion woman who is very comparable to a darker skinned woman a chance, when they wouldn't give that darker skinned woman a chance. If that makes sense. Sometimes I kind of feel their eyes sliding off of me to go to the pretty white girl next to me, or even the fair-skinned Yara Shahidi type. She says a twinge of sadness in her voice. While she sees herself getting married, she doesn't know if she will end up with a black man. I don't necessarily see myself walking down the aisle with a black guy, not because I've written them off or because I don't want to, but just realistically, based on how the dating life has been treating me and how I've been approached. And basically now she's going through all the stories of her being, how she was being dissed for being a dark-skinned woman. But here's something that I would like to read. I would like to think I've grown up since that 19-year-old who was insulted at the gate of my dorm. My dark skin is not something to be ashamed of. Even if past lovers made it clear they were ashamed to be associated with me because of it. I've been all of it before. I'm dating someone, but there's a secrecy to our relationships. Hands that could only hold yours in private, a reluctance to present you to family and friends, kisses that only meet your lips when no one else can see. In other words, she's creeping with a high status male. She's a side chick to a high status male. I wonder, are dark-skinned women just placeholders until they meet their desired match? Do all these men really want white families? In other words, this chick, this partner who's involved with a lawyer at her firm, and the white dude told her, I want a white family. But I feel a rant coming on. All this colorism is not about the average dude. All this colorism talk is about the high. When they talk about colorism and the pretty for a dark girl shit, and then being shunned because of their color, they're talking about the top 10%. They're talking about the virtual boule. They're talking about the guys who do look for lighter skinned women, who have more options, who are marrying Latinas and other kind of women. Those are the men that they're complaining about. The virtual masters of the universe. The other 90%, they know they can mix in with the other 90%. That's how come they say they don't want to settle. Black women have created their own mess. You're raising the boys. You didn't create enough boys, or the boys that you would have wanted to marry. You didn't make sure they were educated. You didn't make sure they went to school. You didn't make sure they were prepared to get degrees so they can support a black family. Because you yourself didn't want to compete with your own man. So you guess you're going to hold him down so you can lord over him. And then you get mad because there's not enough guys at the top level for you to match with. So now they can discriminate. And just reading stuff like this pisses me off. You can't get the guy that you want, or that guy that you want at the top level doesn't prefer you, and then you're going to crap on everybody else. Because you feel sorry for yourself. And you think just because you are educated, you deserve a high status male. He's supposed to want you because of your education. Not that you're balling out of control. You want somebody that's above you, or somebody that's your match. So basically, she's a Molly. And then when she discriminates against this guy's too young, or this guy's not a match, or this, that, or the other, you're swiping on a Tinder app. Because you're pissed off about the dating scene or the dating market. It's a market. It's supply and demand. And everything in a market is not available in the same quantity. They don't produce more just because you desire it. Human beings don't work that way. There's only so many black men that can rise up out of this muck and mire to actually be one of those guys. And when they do, yeah, they're going to be selective. Just like you. You feel that you come from a middle-class family and you're educated and you have a career, that you can be selective, but those men can't. And you're supposed to be able to pick the criteria on what these men actually select, when they can't, they have nothing to do with your criteria. You said fairly good looking. Nobody knows what that means. So what? A guy puts in his bio that he only dates light-skinned women and he's dark-skinned. So what? That's his preference, just like you have one. And we're getting tired of black women trying to shame black men for their preference, when we can't shame you for yours. And it doesn't have anything to do with money. His speech pattern, even though we want an educated dude, that sounds like he's from the street. Y'all, black women need to get real.